In this lecture, we are moving on to the second module itself. There is a design of open wells. So we are moving on to that topic. So we are going to discuss about design of tube wells. So as you all know, a proper design of the water wells is very much essential to obtain optimum quantity of water, and the design should be economical too. Okay, so the proper groundwater exploration and hydrogeological investigations are prerequisite to the design of water wells. So when we know the lithological look or the geological properties of the soil, then only we could get the maximum amount of water at a minimum cost. Okay. So now these are the design steps for the design of a tube well. First, we have to do the mechanical analysis of the samples of the underground formation obtained from various depths and the preparation of a well log. That is the first step. That is before knowing the while digging the well itself, we have to know whether the types of the formation beneath the soil. Then only we could get which is the proper aquifer from which we can tap the water. Okay, that data we will get only by analyzing the soil samples at different depths. That is the first thing. Second thing is design of housing pipe and well casing. So housing pipe is nothing but in case of the tube wells we are placing the pipe beneath the water. That is we are using mostly submersible pumps. So we are placing the pump inside the soil, inside the well itself, inside the well below the water. So we have to protect the pump by using some housing. That is known as housing pipe. And well casing is nothing but the pipe which we are inserting in order to make the lining of the well. That is make the particular shape of the well. That is known as well casing. So that is the second step. Third step is design of well screen. Well screen is a very important part of the well. It is the most important portion which is placed at the bottommost part of the well. Okay, it has many number of holes in it. It allows the water to get into the well. Okay, and it resists the fine particles or other formation materials into the well, and thereby it increases, not increases, it maintains the capacity of the well. Okay, so that is about design of well screen. And the fourth one is design of gravel pack. In certain formations we could in certain fine formations, that is in some soil there may be fine formations, fine type of soil may be there. In that case the well screen, the fine particles may enter into the well screen through its openings, so that may decrease the capacity of the well as usual. So what we have to do is we have to provide some gravel packing around the well in such a way that it could resist the flow of fine particles into the well. It can filter out the water into the well. So that is known as gravel packing. Gravel packing is not necessary everywhere. It can be adopted in some places where there is very fine particles are there in the formation as the formation material. And the final one is designed for sanitary protection. So that is about the testing of the well. That means we have to test whether the water is fit for drinking or not before making it into use. So these are the 5 steps which we have to follow while designing a tube well. Now we are moving on to the first step. Two important things to be noted while, so the first step is mechanical analysis of the samples underground the soil, that is in the formation. So the two important things to be noted while doing the mechanical analysis is, one is the effective size of the particle, second thing is the uniformity coefficient. Effective size is nothing but it is D10. D10 means 10% of the sand is finer and 90% of the sand is formation material is coarser. It should be like that. So that value, that D10 value should be noted, okay, for the formation material. That is the first thing. Second thing is uniformity coefficient. Uniformity coefficient is nothing but it is the ratio of D60 by D10. So D60 means 40, if you are sieving it in a particular sieve, 40% of the particles should retain in the sieve and 60 will go down. That is D60. And D10 means 90% of the particle is coarser, that is it retained, and 10% will be filtered out. So D60 by D10 ratio is known as uniformity coefficient. That should be less than 2 for formation material, because these two quantities will affect, will influence the particle size, the entire particle size of the formation material. And when that particle size is low, or when it is not, its particle size is very low, means it can enter into the screen, and it will come inside the well and decreases its capacity. So we have to note these two quantities. One is the effective size and the second one is the uniformity coefficient. For a well, the uniformity coefficient for a uniform material should be Cu less than 1. Now the second step in the design is design of housing pipe and well casing. Design of the housing pipe should be at least 5 centimeter more in diameter than that of the nominal diameter of the pump. So housing pipe is nothing but we are placing the pump inside that pipe. So it is almost equal to the casing pipe. We are placing some pipe pipes for protecting that particular well casing. Okay, I mean pump casing. So that pump should be, the size of that pump should be 5 centimeter greater than that of the diameter of the pump. We are using submersible pump, so it has a diameter. So 5 centimeter more than the diameter should be used for housing pipe. And here a table is given which gives an idea of the diameter and thickness of housing pipe, the relation between the diameter and thickness of housing pipes for tube wells. So you can choose that accordingly. Now the depth of the housing pipe. The depth of the housing pipe is nothing but it is the depth of the depth at which we are placing the pump. Okay. In case of tube wells, as I have already told you, we are using submersible pumps. Submersible pumps means we are placing the pumps beneath the water. They are working underwater. So always the pump should be beneath the water. Okay, in dry seasons and all, what will happen? The water will come down. Water level in the well will come down. So the drawdown will be much higher. Drawdown will be much higher. So in that seasons also, the pump should be inside water only, beneath the water only. So we have to place the pump in such a way that it should be beneath the water even in the dry season, even in the lowest, I mean maximum drawdown. Okay. So that should always be submerged in water. So that is the consideration for depth of housing pipe. Now we are moving on to the casing pipe, that is diameter of the casing pipe. So diameter of the casing pipe means almost equal to the diameter of the well. Okay, we are digging a hole or drilling a hole and we are placing the well casing pipe. Okay, so it should be slightly lesser than that of the hole, slightly lesser than that of the hole, so that it can fit into the hole. Okay, that's it. And the main thing which affects this diameter is velocity of water through that. The velocity should not exceed 4.5 meter per second. That is, it should be between 1.5 and 4.5 meter per second. Most suitable velocity of water through that pipe is 2.5 to 3 meter per second. This is known as the critical velocity. So what this velocity means is when the velocity of water through that pipe is much higher, it has a tendency to take the soil along with it, soil particles from the formation material along with it. So that will affect the working of the pump as well as the capacity of the well. Okay. So for avoiding that, the velocity should be somewhat low. Okay. When it is much low means we cannot take out the water. We cannot extract much amount of water. So it should be a slightly higher. So there should be an optimum velocity which should be needed for working of the pump. So that is between 2.5 and 3 meter per second. Now the velocity by continuity equation, we know that A is equal to Q by V or Q is equal to AV. So here Q is the discharge from the well, V is the velocity which we have already discussed about, and A is the area of that sectional area of that pipe, that is pi d square by 4. So from this equation you will get the value of D. D is nothing but the diameter of the well casing pipe. So by this calculation you will get the diameter of casing pipe. Now we are moving on to the thickness of the pipe. We are using mostly steel pipes. They are manufactured in different thicknesses. So these pipes should be devoid of corrosion. It should not affect, it should not be corroded, and it should have much strength to bear the pressure of water. So okay, so we are mostly using steel pipes. They are available in many specifications. Heavier pipes are there. They are severely corrosive, and lighter pipes are there. They are mildly corrosive. And thickness of the well casing is a function of the diameter and depth of the well. Here there is a table. So according to the diameter and depth of the well, we can choose the thickness of the pipe. Okay. Now we are moving on to the well diameter. So why we are telling this diameter of the casing pipe and well diameter separately? Because the well diameter is the diameter of the hole which we are making, but the casing pipe diameter is the diameter of the pipe which we are inserting into that hole. Okay, that's why we are discussing it separately. Now in case normally the well diameter will be almost equal, slightly greater than that of the casing pipe. That's it. But in case of gravel pack, if we are using gravel pack, in most cases we are not using gravel pack. But if you are using gravel pack means the bore size or the diameter of the well should be equal to outside diameter of the casing pipe plus 2 into gravel pack thickness. So outside diameter of the casing pipe plus 2 into diameter of the thickness of the gravel pack, that should be the bore size. So we are providing gravel pack around the well, so the thickness of the gravel pack into 2 plus outer diameter of the casing pipe will give the total diameter of the well. Now, in our former equations, in the steady state and all, we have discussed that the discharge from the well is, or yield from the well is directly proportional to the diameter. When the diameter of the well increases, the yield from the well also increases. But it is not the case for all the diameters. Okay. For example, if we are having a well of 30 centimeter diameter and we are extracting some 5 meter cube of water. Okay, from that particular well. Now we are constructing a well of 60 centimeter. So we are expecting, at that time we are expecting, what we are expecting is, we are expecting an yield of double than that of 30. That is 5 we got from 30. So we expect 10 meter cube from this 60 centimeter well. But we cannot expect that. That is not the case. Only an increase of 12% will be there for the yield if you are doubling the diameter. So when diameter increases, the well yield increases, but it is not proportional. Okay, a slight increase in the well yield will be there. So it doesn't mean that a large diameter well will have much yield or double the yield of a small diameter well. We cannot say like that. So that means drilling a large diameter well will not necessarily mean proportionately large yields. So some recommendations for the well diameter and all is given here. This source is Raghunath, groundwater hydrology by Raghunath. From that I have taken this table. Now the depth of the well. The depth of the well depends on many parameters. It depends on the aquifer layers, number of aquifers to be tapped, etc. And it is drilled. Normally the well should be drilled up to the bottom of the aquifer. If there is an aquifer means we have to fully penetrate the aquifer for getting more yield. In between, if in case of two wells, we are digging the well to much depth will be very much higher than that of an open well. Okay, so that it can tap more number of aquifers. Tube wells mostly tap more number of aquifers. If there is a poor aquifer, poor yielding aquifer in between, then what we have to do is we have to seal that aquifer. We have to seal that aquifer. Otherwise, what will happen means the poor quality water or poor quality fine particles from that aquifer will reach our well, and it will decrease the quality of water in the well. So we have to seal that aquifer and we have to tap all the other aquifers. That's it. If there is a poor quality aquifer means we have to backfill or seal that aquifer. Now we are moving on to the third step. It is the design of well screen. Well screen is nothing but it is a very important part of the well, and it is placed at the very bottom of that well. It has many number of holes in it. It allows the water to enter into the well. It filters the water into the well, and it restricts the fine particles from entering into the well. So that is the purpose of this well screen, and it makes a horizontal flow of water possible. Okay, and it is a strainer which separates aquifer material from the well. And the main design of this well screen mainly consists of many steps. That is screen length. We have to choose a screen length. Length of the screen means this one. So this is a well screen. This is the length of the screen. We are placing the screen vertically, so we can say that it is the height actually. So we are anyway we are specifying it as the length of screen. Location of the screen, where to place that screen in the well. Percentage open area, how much is the open area? This is the total area of the screen. Out of this, how much is the open area? There are some pores in between, some open voids in between, which allows the entrance of water. So how much is that percentage open area to be provided? Size means diameter of the well screen. Shape of the opening, there may be rectangular openings are there, circular, triangular, etc. there. So shape of the opening. Screen diameter of the screen, and the selection of screen material, which material to be used for the screen. So these are some of the steps in design of well screen. So we are moving on to the design of well screen in detail. Before that, we have to know what are the basic requirements of a well screen. So there are many requirements. First thing is it should be resistant to corrosion. We are placing it at the bottom of the well, so we cannot repair it in frequently. We cannot dig it up and see it frequently. So what we have to do is we have to choose a corrosion resistant, and it is always in contact with water. So there is a chance of corrosion. So we have to avoid that while selecting the material. Second thing is it should be strong enough to prevent collapse, and it should offer minimum resistance to flow of water. The main property of this well screen is it allows the filtration of water into the well. So it should offer minimum resistance to the flow of water. And the final thing is it should prevent excessive movement of sand into the well. So these are the basic requirements of a well screen. Now the next step, first step in the design of well screen is location and length of the screen. So length of the screen is nothing but it is this one. As I have already told, we are placing the screen vertically. We can say that it is the height. Okay. So there are two types of aquifers actually. One is confined and another one is unconfined. They are the two important types of aquifers from which we are extracting water. So first we are going on to the case of confined aquifer. Confined aquifer means both top and bottom is confined with two impermeable layers. So in case of that type of aquifer, having homogeneous material, that is the property of the materials everywhere in the aquifer is same. It consists of homogeneous formation material. In that case, 70 to 80% of the thickness of the aquifer should be screened. So the thickness of the aquifer will be there. The 70 to 80% of the aquifer thickness should be screened in that case. Now the screen should be preferably centered, and the screen should be placed at the center of the aquifers. If, for example, if the aquifer has a thickness of 30 centimeter or 30 meters, let it be. In our screen, we should place at the 15 centimeter. The middle of our screen should come at the 15 centimeter. That's it. So we have to place at the center of the aquifer. Place the screen at the center of the aquifer. Okay, that's it. Now, in case of non-homogeneous, it is preferable to screen most permeable strata. If the aquifer is non-homogeneous means we have to screen the areas where there is most permeable strata is there. That area we should screen. In case of water table aquifer means we have only one confining layer at the bottom. The bottom one-third portion of the aquifer should be screened in case of water table. So we have to place the screen at the bottom one-third portion. That's it. Now for all these things, we have to consider one thing, that is the entrance velocity. As I have already told you that the entrance velocity means the velocity at which the water is entering into the screen. Okay, into the slot of the screen. It should be below 3 centimeter per second. The screen should be placed in such a way that the water velocity entrance velocity should be less than that of 3 centimeter per second. And in aquifers which is non-homogeneous, we have already discussed that point earlier. Now the length of the screen is found out by using this formula. It is Q by A0 into VE, where VE is the entrance velocity, A is the area, effective open area of the aquifer, Q is the discharge, maximum expected discharge. So this equation is written in this way. Here VE is equal to Q by C pi ds LSP, where LS is the length of the screen as we have discussed here. A0, that is the percentage open area, can be expressed as C pi dsp. Open area is equal to a circular section, right? Well will be in the shape of a circular section. So the area will be pi ds. Okay, pi ds into C into P will be the total open area. C is nothing but it is the clogging coefficient, and P is the percentage of open area in the screen. So this will give you the entrance velocity, value of entrance velocity. Now according to this entrance velocity, we have to give the length of the screen, choose the length of the screen. Second step in the design of well screen is size and shape of the slots. Size and shape of the screen, it depends on the gradation and the formation material. Gradation means how much homogeneous is the material, and formation material size or texture will depend on the size and will influence the size and shape of the openings of the screen. For naturally developed well, the sizes of the opening is selected as 40 to 70% of the size of the aquifer material. So since we are placing the screen to restrict the formation material from entering into the well, The screen size or the slot size should be lesser than that of the formation material. That's the important thing to be noted. Slot size should be lesser than that of the formation material if you are not providing gravel pack. Okay, so that should be 40 to 50, 70 percentage of the size of the aquifer material. That is preferable. Preferable. So these values are taken from Raghunath 2007. And if the opening size selected on this criterion is smaller than 0.75 mm, if you are choosing a screen size of zero point 0.7 less than 0.75 mm means we have to provide an artificial gravel pack. Otherwise there is a chance of clogging of the materials in the well, and this may decrease the capacity of the well. So we have to provide an artificial gravel pack in such kinds of wells. Now regarding the screen diameter of the screen, that is the third step. Suitable screen diameter is selected based on the desired yield of the well and the thickness of the aquifer. Normally, according to the entrance velocity, we will choose the screen. Entrance velocity should be between 3 to 6 centimeter per second in order to avoid incrustation and corrosion and minimize the friction losses. Size of each slot is decided based on the grain size distribution of the aquifer material. It is based on the aquifer material. Okay. And size of each opening of the slot varies between 1.5 to 5 mm. Each opening of the screen should be based on the entrance velocity, and it will it should be between 1.5 to 5 mm. That is the maximum size of the slot which we can provide. So about the screen diameter, it should be based on the desired yield and the thickness of the aquifer. Now the material of the screen is another important thing to be noted. It is based on, the material is chosen based on the depth of the well, type of aquifer layer and the chemical composition, because we have to avoid corrosion of the screen. So such a material should be chosen, and we have to provide a material which is having proper strength to bear the strength of our pressure of water. So that type of material should be chosen. And normally we are providing stainless steel, and that's it. There are many materials. Steel has a good strength, but it is not corrosion resistant. Brass has fair good resistance to corrosion, but it has less strength. But stainless steel has excellent strength and is highly resistant to most corrosive conditions, so we can choose stainless steel. Some of the other materials which we use as screen material is avoided metal, type 304 stainless steel, and silicon red brass. These are some materials which we are using as permanent well screens. This data is taken from Raghunath. Now there are different types of screens actually. There are mainly 4 types: V-shaped continuous slot screen, lower type screen, rectangular slot screen, and pipe based well screen. So these names are based on the type of the opening mainly. Type of the opening and the direction of water flow through the opening. So these types are taken from Raghunath 2007. First type is V-shaped continuous slot screen. So here what we are doing is we have many number of cylindrical rods. Okay, many number of cylindrical rods placed in a circular array. Now what we are doing is we are winding a pipe around that circular array of rods. Okay, the shape of the pipe should be wedge shape. The wedge wire, helically wound wedge wire should be given. So what will happen? Wedge means a triangular shaped wire. It is not cylindrical wire. It is not normal wire. We have a wire of wedge shape. Okay. So what will happen? There will be a triangular hollow space created here. Through that space, the water will enter. So since we are providing a V shape here, we can say that it is a V shape continuous slot screen. That's it. So we are providing a number of cylindrical rods in a circular array. We are winding it with wedge wire around it, and we will have V-shaped openings there, and through that openings water will enter into that screen. So this is made up of galvanized iron, steel, stainless steel, or various other types of brass also. Second type is lower type screen. It is just like the shape of a shutter. Here we can see a shutter shape is there, and this type of screen is most suitable for gravel packed wells, because the large sized gravel may not enter into the well. It should be mostly closed, but the open space, the water will enter from the lower part. So it is known as lower type screen. Now the third one is rectangular slot screen or slotted pipe screen. Here what we are doing is they are fabricated by cutting slots vertical or horizontal with a sharp saw, oxyacetylene torch, or by punching with a chisel and die or casing perforator. So we are making slots. We are making rectangular, vertical or horizontal slots on a screen by means of punching or oxyacetylate torch or sharp saw or whatever it is. Okay. Now in this case, what we are doing is a small opening, low open area will be there, lack of continuity will be there, corrosion will be there. So this is less efficient and it is least expensive because of that. Mainly slotted PVC pipes are used sometimes. And the final one is pipe base well screen. A wire mesh is wrapped around the perforated pipe and is in turn is covered by a brass perforated steel. So here we are using wire meshes wound around this one. I hope this. Okay, percentage open area in this type is normally low and the perforations are blocked by incrustations. So these are the different types of what is that well screens. Now the fourth step in the design of a tube well is design of gravel packing. Normally gravel packing is not used, but it is used under the following conditions. It is used to stabilize the fine grained poorly sorted sand aquifers. Stabilization of the aquifer is one important point. To permit the use of larger slot openings, and the use of an artificial gravel pack will permit the use of a single slot size screen. So these are the situations in which we are providing gravel packing. Gravel packing refers to the placing of gravel around well screen. That's it. Now for gravel packing, we have to see the following conditions. We have to first see the pack aquifer ratio while providing the gravel packing. Pack aquifer ratio is nothing but we are comparing the size of the gravel as well as the size of the aquifer material. So 50% size of the gravel pack divided by 50% size of the aquifer is known as pack aquifer ratio. This value should be between 9 to 12.5 for a uniform aquifer. That is aquifer having a uniformity coefficient less than or equal to this should be the value of pack aquifer ratio. In case of a graded aquifer, that is uniformity coefficient greater than or equal to, in that case, PA ratio should be 12 to 15.5. So this condition should be considered while selecting the gravel pack. Now the gravel pack, before providing the gravel pack, the gravel should be screened. Okay, first it should be screened with larger openings to remove the larger sized particles. Because if you are providing larger particles means there may be large space, pore spaces may be there. In between that, through that pore spaces, small fine particles of the formation material may enter into the screen. So for avoiding that, we are screening the large sized particles, and after that we have to screen the very smaller particles, because when fine particles are given, there is a chance of entering of these fine particles into the well. So for avoiding that, we have to screen the very small particles. So an optimum sized particle should be given to the gravel packing. And the gravel selected for gravel pack should be clean, dense, rounded, smooth, and even uniform. And the maximum gravel size of a gravel pack should be less than 1 centimeter. Thickness of the gravel pack should be 10 to 20 centimeter. Artificial gravel pack is required when the aquifer material is homogeneous with a uniformity coefficient less than 3. So we are providing the gravel pack when the uniformity coefficient of the aquifer is less than 3 and the effective grain size, that is the D10 value, is less than 0.25. So we are providing the gravel pack in these conditions only. Normally the size of pea gravel, the gravel which we are receiving is 4 to 8 mm. So that value is necessary, that particular size is necessary for using gravel pack. Uniformity coefficient should be less than 2.5 for the gravel pack. Now how to choose the gravel pack based on the type of the screen slot, and the uniformity coefficient is given in this table. This one you can read. Now final step is the sanitary protection of the tube wells. Sanitary protection is nothing but we are testing the water, whether the water is fit for drinking or not. So there may be many chances of pollution of water. So these are some of the chances by which water get polluted. So we have to avoid that by protecting the top section of a tube well from entry of contaminants, and grouting and sealing can be done for avoiding such contamination. The final one is development of tube wells. Development, you all know, well development is nothing but it is a backwashing of the well for removing the fine particles from the bottom of the well. So the same methods are followed in tube wells also. This will increase the efficiency of the well. So this is about today's lecture. Thank you.